Welcome back to part two. My guest today is Paul Hingley, the legend, as we established earlier. Paul, welcome back.
No problem.
So you've just said, given us an answer about what Siemens are doing. What do our partners need to do now?
They need to become more aware. They need to understand the requirements of 62443. How are they going to produce documentation that allows them to demonstrate what they've done? And that's going to be critical because the customers, our end customers, they are really going to be now asking the right questions. The CRA, NIS-V2, the way that this is going to be marketed within the industry itself, you're going to see a lot more level of maturity. So solution providers, our product partners, all of them need to have a basic understanding of what those questions will be. So let's take what is being driven by the legislation. There's a lot of white papers out there, and Siemens has one as well, looking at this SL2, security level 2. And what does that actually mean? So if we look at the overall requirements of SL1 to SL4, you have basically 50 base requirements. Those are 50 elements of product selection, design within the architecture, the way that some of the encryption is taking place, the way that you authenticate, etc. All of these are baselines. When we move from SL1 at 50 enhancements, and we move to SL2 at 93 enhancements, again, the baseline of 50, then we have an additional set of enhancements that need to be complied with. You can see there's a lot of information there that our customers need to disseminate and understand. And when you look at the overall at SL4, which is the highest level of security, we're talking 122. Now, we have done SL1, we've done SL2, we've done SL3 designs. We're actually in the process of doing an SL4 for a nuclear industry. But around that, we define the network. Our aim is to define the SL for the customer. That allows our partners, solution partners, system integrators to work to the SL requirement and a blueprint of the actual system design. And then what we offer is the validation that has been completed at the end to underwrite that, yes, we have the right SL, and yes, it's been installed correctly, and now it's validated. These are the things that are going to be the requirements of the technical file. Because if we look at the changes, the real change is around CE marking. Right. Our products are being developed to meet SL2. The systems will be designed around SL2. But the CE marking is also within the technical file, and the declaration of conformity is going to need all of that all that documentation put together so that it can be built into the overall technical file and the declaration of conformity. That is a massive shift, and one that I don't think our partners are ready for. A lot of them understand the basic elements of 62443, but when it comes to the legal requirements, especially where there's implementation and design and validation, that validation is not only going to be commercially responsible, but it's also going to be legally responsible as well under certain elements of compliance to the CRA and NIS-V2. And the development of NIS-V2 has now extended not just from critical national infrastructure, but also to manufacturing, to food production, to dirty water. All of a sudden, all of those industrial vertical markets that were once not required, they weren't required within the NIS, the original NIS requirements, are now being incorporated. So it's a big change, and it's one that our customers need to upskill. They need to ask the right questions, but also ask for help and support, because with the flow downs that take place from the larger customers, they have to ensure that their supply chain is responsible as well. You're going to see a lot more of the larger companies flow down their responsibility utilizing 62443. So our customers need to be ready. They need to be aware, and they also need to understand the legal changes that are taking place.
So if they've got these requirements they will need to do now, where would be the best place to get support and information from?
They can find support from ourselves.
Yeah.
In that pre-sales role, we offer support for them and with them to their customers.
Yeah.
If they're a solution provider or a system integrator. Yeah. If it's product, we can support on the bill of materials and understanding the requirements for SL2 and what products are suitable for SL2.
Yeah. And
I would also look at getting external training as well.
Yeah.
The ISA organisation around 62443, looking at the fundamentals course should be the baseline of what everyone does.
Yeah.
The fundamentals course can be done online. I would recommend you do the European course and not the US course, because you'll be there till 9 o'clock at night. So do the European one. But there's enough information in there as well to understand the basics of what you have to do and what your responsibility is with regards to 62443.
Because, a big push from a solution partner perspective is around our partners having more of the what we call portfolio and expert modules, which cyber's one of them and things like that.
Exactly.
And it's an area of business that I think we're really trying to grow, sort of keen to grow, really. Is that a fair assumption?
Very much so. We, like with safety, we are looking for companies that see that as a core element of what they offer.
Yeah.
Safety is, but again, I would ask the question, are these people actually competent?
Yeah.
Because it's only a problem when you end up in court. That's the problem. And security is going to be the same now.
Yeah.
There is going to be an emphasis there that it's a core element of everything that we do, from a product right the way through to what we're doing with the design and a solution. We are looking for partners, actively looking. What we've found so far with a lot of the conversations that we've had is that some of our existing partners are touching security.
Yeah.
But that's all they're doing is touching security, because there's no drive from the end customer and request from the end customer for what we've just been talking about.
Yeah.
So there is going to become a need. There is going to become a requirement from us. We have a lot of work on at the moment. We're actively looking for support. But it's really difficult to find these people, especially with operational technology security knowledge.
Yeah.
We see it with IT, but IT is more of a flat structure with the way that you sort of engineer the solutions. There's a lot more tiers with regards to OT, a lot more interaction into legacy systems. There's a lot more knowledge that you need to have around the product in order for it to be applied.
Yeah.
And this is where you need the manufacturer, not just Siemens, other manufacturers as well. So if there's any solution partners out there, they also need to be talking to other vendors to understand what they can offer. Because if you're putting a competitive product in there, you're going to need a lot of information to ensure that you can underwrite and validate. That's what we offer. We've already offered it, but now we're in that process of starting to develop our own supply chain to go forward.
Right. Okay. That's great. Thank you for that. I've got a different tact on a question now to move away from where we've just been at. What is the threat landscape going forward?
So there are two areas of this world of threat. There are three areas actually. One is that customers themselves create a problem. They sometimes leave access points open unintentionally. Those can be exploited by, in a lot of cases, young people that don't really understand the consequences of what they're doing. So it's more by accident that the attack occurs.
Yeah.
Then you have state active attacks, predominantly coming from China and Russia. China are after IP. That's all they're after. They have various actual working departments. It's a job for these people. They turn up at 9 and finish at 5. They actively look at vertical markets and industries, and they are trying to collect IP around new processes, projects, new products. Hydrogen at the moment is really active, where there's a lot of attacks that are taking place looking for intellectual property around the design of hydrogen systems. Mm-hmm. The Russians are simply trying to disrupt. They're predominantly focused on critical national infrastructure, electrification, oil and gas supplies, etc. Mm-hmm. They're just trying to disrupt. A lot of attacks take place around disruption. The majority are dispelled. It's an annoyance, more so than what you see with the Chinese, who will embed themselves into a company for between 6 and 12 months, accumulating information and data that they can be utilized. The final element is the criminal fraternity. Mm-hmm. This is where now we're seeing a lot of activity from Europe, around Baltic states, around Southeast Asia, where the criminal fraternity is looking at denial of service. They are looking at specific attacks where they hold companies to ransom. And we were working with one recently, just a typical company, a printing company. We were working in conjunction with the Cyber Resilience Centre in the Northwest. This company had been held to ransom, mm-hmm. Simple injection of SQL code, which stopped them taking orders. By the first knowledge of the attack, which was middle of October, to when it was a full-blown attack by the middle of November, then they were taken offline completely. By January, they estimated their losses was £22 million. They had to buy all new equipment. They decided they were going to buy all new equipment. They decided they weren't going to pay the ransom, which was just over 5 million euros. They decided that they were going to do this themselves. They were insured. In the January, they went to their insurance company to be told by the insurance company that they were not insured. And that's because they couldn't demonstrate due diligence, that they had a safety posture in place prior to the attack. So the company, luckily, were cash rich and managed to survive. People were made redundant within the company. Yeah. It affected the company considerably, but that criminal activity that we're seeing has increased by over 700% last year. And it's increasing more and more. The targets are generally SMEs. Mm-hmm. The larger companies now around the IT generally have a good security posture in place. Yeah. But if you look at various reports, industry now is actually leading the poll now of being the biggest market attacked. It's taken over from the financial world and including banking. So industry now is seen as the target for the criminal fraternity. And that's something, again, that a lot of SMEs sometimes don't even know that they're being attacked. They don't have the infrastructure to understand what's happening. And also they struggle to be able to find help. We recommend the Cyber Resilience Centres around the UK as the first port of call. Mm-hmm. We support that as Siemens, both nationally and also individually here in the Northwest. But it's a really good point of contact that all companies should be looking at. And also our partners, like our solution partners and system integrators and distribution partners, should also be looking at becoming a part of, because it allows them to become a source of support to the companies that get attacked.
Right, okay, that's very interesting and quite eye-opening as well, that, Paul, so thank you. So just going back to partners, I get some people question the value of our partner network, both solution or distribution partners. Yeah. What's your view of the landscape of this?
Our distribution partners are going to play probably the most important role within Siemens of being evangelists, going out there and working with our customers. A lot of them we don't touch directly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the messaging needs to be consistent. The way that we can use our partners to get a consistent message out to the market is exactly what we want to be. Our work recently that we've been doing with Palmley Graham and Underwoods is where we're trying to raise their awareness, trying to look at training and development of these people. So again, they can answer that first line of questions when a customer is in need. And we see it as an integral part. For solution partners, we see that we should be seen as a support act.
Yeah.
We should be there. We are not trying to go out and just take the orders direct. What we want to see is a partnership approach to the market. It's all about trust.
Yeah.
A lot of companies don't know Siemens, as in they don't meet Siemens people. So by having our solution partners and system integrators being able to act as that bridge of connectivity into these customers, we then build that conduit of communication. Yeah. And that's the way we can support that. And that's an integral part of the way we want to go to market.
I mean, for me, that's so important because of the core values of the Solution Partner Program where I, reside in. Yep. It's all about value and collaboration for both parties. If you don't get any value, don't collaborate, then it's just not going to work.
And I'd add communication in there as well.
Yeah.
Feeling that they can pick the phone up and have a sensible conversation without feeling that they're threatened in any way. Yeah. What we're trying to build is that relationship that, again, going to market, it's consistent.
Yeah. So have you got any other messages you'd like to get out to anybody from a partner network before we sort of unwind this very, very interesting, conversation?
Other than what I said at the beginning, the marshals are now in town.
Yeah.
The Wild West that we had around security is disappearing.
Yeah.
I would ask everyone to be aware of the products that they are recommending.
Yeah.
And having discussions about with customers, make sure they meet the requirements of the future. Also, if you're not sure, ask the question.
So another question I've got for you, there's this little event going on in Manchester in July. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, called Transform. I understand it's going to be a fantastic event, as the last one was. What can we expect this time, and what should our customers, partners and partners' customers, why should they attend and what should they expect? And is anything from your perspective within your area of expertise as well?
Yeah, we're holding a consultancy booth around security, allowing customers to ask the questions based on what I've just been talking about.
Yeah.
We have an area as well depicting networks and network technology and what should be done, of the best practice for the way that you put really secure and sustainable networks together.
Yeah.
Also focused on efficiency. So it's not just security. As we move into IoT, as we move into more closed loop networks, you need efficiency of the network. You need that data flow in order for these systems to work correctly. So again, a lot of discussions will be held around how do you make a really efficient network to be able to take advantage of Industry 4.0. And encompassed in that, we're also going to be talking around how do you then protect that network? How do you start to look at the introduction of software and techniques to be able to make the network secure? We're also lucky to have a guest speaker from the NCSC. The Chief Technology Officer is joining us on central stage to look at what industry is doing and how important industry is to the government and what they're doing. And we also have a panel discussion that's going to include Katie Gallagher, OBE, who looks after the Cyber Resilience Centre. She's the MD for the Cyber Resilience Centre in the Northwest. And she's going to be talking about training, about what you need to do to uplift your skill sets in order to be able to understand security and what's going to happen in the future. So really focused on what's happening with security, but also how that affects our drive for industry around the digital industry footprints we're trying to create.
So even more reason to attend Transform, apart from seeing your good self, sir, is, it's well worth going. So if our partners haven't registered yet, or our partners haven't, please, you don't want to miss this. You don't want to miss this.
Yeah. And the other one that we're hopefully going to be launching is a new SOC, so Security Operational Center, that is focused on SME community, a low-cost SOC that enables companies to, again, have external help with regards to their networks and security.
Right. Okay. So I asked you a strange question at the start. And I'm going to ask you another one at the end as we just now wrap up for this very, very informative episode. How do you unwind, Paul? You know, what makes you just relax?
I'm very simple in what I do. During the summer months, I go and watch my son play cricket. He's semi-pro cricket. He was going to be professional some years ago, but anyway, injury took that away. And so I go like watching a good cricket match on a Saturday or a Sunday. Other than that, it's walking the dog. I find that just being out in woodlands, in open space and walking the dog gets rid of a lot of frustrations.
Yeah,
I can assure you.
Very simplistic, but the best way sometimes.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So, well, Paul, time has flown by again. I thank you for your support being our second guest. So I hope you enjoyed listening to the Second Partner podcast. Stay tuned for future episodes. We'd love it if you'd like, share and promote this podcast. My name's Mark Gutteridge. Goodbye and stay safe. Thank you.